Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Sage the Scales Tarot. I want to thank every single one of you who have subscribed and liked and left comments. I love your comments. I hope my volume is better. I did remember to turn my volume up this time. I'm a work in progress. So I know a lot of you have listened to a lot of readers about some of the same basic questions, the same energy that we're all feeling right now, and everybody's kind of agreeing on some of the bigger questions. I've been feeling the need to ask on a couple of things that maybe have kind of fallen through the cracks or have been forgotten. In one of my other videos, I read about the Russian connection within Congress. Both houses have people who are just beholden to Russia, and we know this. And we have McConnell stepping down, and we all know that he opened up to Kentucky to the Rusal plant, which is a Russian aluminum Oleg Deripaska plant. And he just had his sister-in-law mysteriously died in that Tesla accident. So I got to thinking, I'm like, okay, Russia's behind a lot. We had Orban, we had Musk visiting Trump, same thing, right? Visiting Trump down in Mar-a-Lago. But I thought back a little bit, and I thought, this man has got his stinky tentacles dug in with all of these awful people. And this isn't the beginning. This isn't new. I don't know if any of you remember this. You probably will. But in 2009, Trump hosted Muammar Gaddafi from Libya up at his Seven Springs estate in Upper New York. And the stink was Gaddafi and his entire group pitched a tent outside on the lawn, and that's where they stayed. But could you imagine? First of all, I wonder what our president thought at the time, thinking, this is Muammar Gaddafi. He's not a friend, and you've got this private citizen welcoming him, and not just into the country, but into his home. And for what reasons? So the fact that we have Orban and we have Musk, and of course everybody's tied to Putin, and we have Starlink hanging over the fate of Ukraine. It's like the highest bidder gets his bidding. You know what I mean? Like they can come in and say, I'll pay you, shut down Starlink here, do this for us there. I don't doubt Musk will go along with it. But I just thought going back and touching upon that was just kind of an interesting point, because I know some of us will remember it now that I've spoken about it, or you didn't know about it at all. So there's now talk that Mike Johnson is beholden to Russia because he has gotten funding, donations, whatever, through Russia. At what point do we not stop and say Trump is a Russian asset? You pulled in this Smirnov guy in Vegas for spewing Russian misinformation and malinformation about Hunter Biden, right? So he's been dragged in for that. But Trump keeps doing it. And during the impeachment of Trump for his quid pro quo with Zelensky, the people that were prosecuting during that, not prosecuting, but were defending Trump during that impeachment were pulled aside by American intelligence and told that what they were talking about was, Russian malinformation, misinformation. It was all false, but they continued. And they continue now. They are all tied in. And I wondered before, and I read on the fact that, okay, maybe we've been waiting for these people to be indicted because of their involvement in Jan 6th. What if Jack Smith thinks that they're going to end up walking because of their speech and debate clauses and things of that nature, and they somehow weasel out of any kind of a charge because of that? But what if he's actually actively investigating the connections to Russia? Wouldn't that be a much more substantial tie-in? I really think it would be. So I'm, watching this and hoping that we get some more telltale clues that possibly this is a direction that these investigations are actually happening and actually moving in. Because wouldn't it be more fun to say, okay, Ginny Thomas just got indicted, but not just for the involvement in January 6th, but before that, money's coming in from Russia to then assist her in making sure January 6th runs smoothly. So that's just a thought. It's kind of like an energy I'm feeling, and I have been feeling it, and it's something that was really thick during the Mueller report days, but I just feel like it's back. It's back, and it's kind of intense. It's more intense. I mean, we all know that the election is coming, so everything's starting to ramp up. Russia is interfering again. So let's back away from that topic for a moment. That is just something I wanted to talk about, but I wanted to focus on what events come before the fall. So what comes before the fall? At what point is Trump going to have his Talladega Nights, Ricky Bobby moment where he's running around on the tarmac in his underwear screaming, "Help me, Oprah, help me, Tom Cruise, I'm on fire." It's like he's not on fire. I kind of want to see that. I would, not in his underwear. Nobody needs to see that. Nobody needs to see that. But wouldn't it be amazing? Because, and I don't doubt that it could happen, he's allowed out on stage all the time, looking crazy, speaking like a maniac, not making any sense, and nobody's reining that in. Nobody's saying, stop, we're going to have pre-recorded messages, we're going to practice your speech, that is what you say and how you say it, and you cut it off and get off the stage. Nobody's doing it. They're just letting him. He's just winging it. He's just like me. He's winging it. But I'm using real words. He can't. So, at what point are we going to see Trump have a psychotic break? Because this is when it happens. These are the things that a human brain cannot wrap itself around and move through in a healthy way. Things happen when you take all of the man's money away, and then you start taking his properties away, and then you start taking his people away, because he knows that even though he won the primaries, his people are not all there. This, MAGA loves me. Like, yeah, MAGA loves you, but there's a whole lot of other Republicans that do not. So, and then, of course, we have Alvin Bragg coming in this month. And I want to ask about that too. But right now, I'm going to ask, are we going to witness Trump lose his marbles and have a considerable, even more prominent mental breakdown right in front of our eyes on TV? It's funny, I've asked other readers this, and it's like, maybe not. So let's see. Will Trump have a breakdown in front of the cameras for everyone to see, so there's no more doubt about the fact that he's not fit. He's lost his mind. Let's see what we've got. Okay, so we have lunacy here. We have the man, having sundowning or whatnot. Something's going to be made apparent, and it's not going to be pretty. And it's going to be presented to everyone. You are going to see it. It will be clearly presented. So here we have our High Priestess card, things that are hidden, followed by our dear Emperor. The Tangerine Palpatine. Things are going to come clear. He is so unbalanced, right? He's not going to be able to juggle it anymore. There's going to be a point when something is obvious. Something is obviously turning. It's obviously turning. And people are going to see him fall and drag and stumble and just not be able to pick things back up again. He's not going to come back. Some of the things he says don't make any dang sense. But he kind of rambles back into something. He knows just to ramble, right? So what happens if he just comes up with some crazy comment, some word salad, and then he just turns around and walks off the stage. Doesn't finish anything, doesn't try to wrap anything in. He just isn't able to continue. Because we have something changing here. And it's changing with his followers. It's changing with his followers. I think, yes, we're going to see it. I think we're going to see it, and I think there won't be any doubt. Of course, you know that you're going to have the MAGA group say, oh, it's just because he's so hardworking. He just had an awful time. Biden is so mean to him. The news is terrible to him, and they're just going to excuse everything. It's like someone in an abusive relationship. There's always an excuse. God, okay, that's sad. That's sad. So now that we have a little bit of information on that, I'm just going to set that energy aside because I just feel like we're kind of come into some of that. It's going to be thick and it's going to be everywhere. Okay. March is not going to be a pretty month, or April for Trump. Everybody said it. Astrologists have said it. Tarot readers have said it. Legal analysts have said it. So let's move into the Alvin Bragg trial. With the 34 charges of election interference, these are federal charges, is this going to produce jail time? And I mean, is he going to be convicted and found guilty? Is he going to be found guilty and given jail time? Of course, that might be broken down into, it won't be a regular jail. It can't be because he's too much of this is security. He's an international security risk, okay? But will he be put someplace and held to someplace? Is the DA Bragg case going to produce jail time? We'll just call it jail time. I don't care if he's living in a storage box on the back lawn of the White House so everybody can watch him all the time. Make sure he doesn't get out. Imagine part of the country's budget is having to pay for his rental storage fee. It's $250 a month for that stupid container. Okay. Let me see. What have we got? All right. So there's a lot. There were a ton of charges that came in. And so there's 8, maybe only 8 will stick. But there's he took action in ways, you know, he paid Stormy Daniels for, you know, and then there were communications that were had. There was like, oh, he went to his crew, whether it be Michael Cohen or Weiselberg or his son, and all people were like signing checks, and they were making sure that Stormy Daniels got her money, and you know, David Packer. Hey, this could be Packer, and the other one could be Trump. But they put it down, right? The catch and kill of that story and shutting down Stormy Daniels and Karen McDougal, and I mean, however else they tried to shut it up. And isn't it? That's funny. The thief card, because he's a scumbag and he's a thief. All right, and this is entertainment only, people. This is only entertainment. Okay, so what we had is a man finally paid somebody, and it just came back in his face hard, right? Which is pretty ironic. So something was offered, and he thought it was quiet. And he thought that Stormy Daniels was sitting pretty, gave her this money. She's like, whatever, and you shut down my story. And she's in a really good position right now. She's got a lot of backing around her. She's got money, enough money to get through this trial, and she's doing okay. She's sitting pretty in this testimony spot, okay? Because, you know, the Mar-a-Lago fiasco is coming. Something's going to rip this apart. There's going to be some life-altering changes. So is he going to possibly end up at Mar-a-Lago? I don't think he's going to go to Mar-a-Lago because it's a club, but maybe another one of his properties. But wouldn't it be funny if he went to this property and then it got repossessed? Like, You gotta kick him out. And maybe that's his plan. Maybe his plan is he's gonna go live with Laura and what's his face? And then they can't take it because they can't take that place because he's, that's where he's serving his time. So you can't go there. You can't take that, right? So this is going to be silly. I think this is just going to turn into a big S show. So I want to say, okay, so is it going to produce jail time? And will there be events to come out of this that might stop this? Every single trial is about, that catch and kill from Stormy Daniels' story about what happened with her and President and Trump at the time. He's doing the same thing with his court cases, right? I mean, he's just having them file all kinds of crazy, motions to block, to stop, to pause, to just put everything out and delay. Are there going to be a lot of delay? Will the Alvin Bragg case be resolved before November? Will this be resolved before November? Okay. He's going to be defending himself, and these attorneys are going to try to stop things. They're going to try. I think there's an ending to this fog and this distraction and this attempt to blow smoke and just move this into a space where it can't proceed forward. I really think this is something that's going to end that, and they're going to work really hard to try to keep Trump stalled so it can't go forward. But then I have the justice with something's coming through. So this could be, all right, so the justice card comes down, and yes, he's found guilt. Something happens, he's found guilty. And maybe it's not the biggest charge, but it's enough to stop him. Because think about it. If he ends up with, 30 years, the jury comes back and says, we want to give him max penalty, and they give him this max amount of years of a sentence. Because he's a first-time offender, he's going to have that slashed in, half or something. And then, okay, well, then he should only have to do this or that because of his age. And they're going to try to wheel it down and wheel it down. Really what we need is we need him to go to wherever for, say, 5 years. So say he gets 10 years and he has to do the 5. What that does is it'll pull him through that next election too. The next election that we're going to have. So even if he gets out a little early, he's not going to run. That's what I would like to see happen. Because I don't think he's going to live through it. But wouldn't it make everybody finally feel good to be like, that man is done. We don't have to worry about him anymore. Of course, you're going to have his followers. Somebody will always step back into that position. And there are going to be plenty of yucky people who are going to want to step into that position. It's going to be the nastiest person rises to the top. They're going to be like those things that float in your coffee when your creamer's gone bad and you pour it in and you get all those floaters and you're like, uh-oh, this isn't good. That's what you're going to have. You're going to have that, all of these little people trying to scramble to be as nasty as possible to take that spot. Wow, that's weird. Okay. I want to see what's going on with McConnell. I want to see what's happening. I want to see if it's, I want to just ask, is it medical? Is that all that it is? Is McConnell leaving simply age and medical? I mean, we all know he should have stepped out a while ago. All right, so let's see. McConnell, how are you? Yeah, he's got a ton of money. He's got people in his back pocket. His wife is all tied into China. He's got tons of millions and millions and millions of dollars because of her and her father's connections in China. China money, right? Well, that's them. He had to make a decision. He had to make a decision because maybe he was pressured beyond just age and his health. Maybe there was something else coming up that he had to think about. Maybe he knows something's coming. Because, I mean, let's face it, these people are in their back, you know, in the back pocket of Russia. Of course they're going to get heads up to things that we don't know about, right? Maybe he thinks it's the strength because he's bound to some things. Check out the banana hammock and the bathing suit. Isn't that funny? All right, so he's tied. He's tied to some bad stuff, right? And he knows something's coming. And whether it be his heart or the fact that he's not going to survive an investigation into things, we all know. You know, there's a lot we don't know, though, right? But maybe he knows that he can't survive if like Jack Smith or somebody comes in and they're investigating people and their connections to Russia. He knows he's not going to survive that. So why bring on that public humiliation when he can just disappear into the background? And if they maybe want to bypass him because he's not a threat anymore, because he's so old and he's not in Congress anymore, maybe they'll just kind of turn away from him and go after people that are younger, that are currently still in Congress, to sort of show that force that this has to stop in Washington. So let's see. Are we going to have younger people? Of course, Grassley's in there, but he's not younger. But are we going to have Jack Smith? I just want to read on this again. I know I read on it before, but I want to check it. Jack Smith investigating the Russia connection with GOP House members. That hidden money, that hidden connection, there is something there. And we have the justice card and that insult to injury. I think that this is justice, not just looking at Jan 6th, but taking it a step further and looking into Russia. He's going to have this action, right? He's going to look at what they did. The members of Congress, those younger members, those people who are really bold, they're very bold. We got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you've got Biggs, you have Jordan and Coleman, you have all these people who are very bold, loud and boisterous, front and center, being very showy, preaching the Russian propaganda, and they know that they're tied in. They are tied in to the money. They are a part of that. Lordy, 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 makes me sad. Makes me sad. You know, and you realize sometimes that you hear Trump talk, and you hear these people talking, and how they're preaching about how wonderful Russia is. Or they don't preach that specifically, but they absolutely express things that Putin wants to happen in this country. Our split, our division, not helping Ukraine so that Russia is able to move through Ukraine and into other countries, as Putin has said he's going to do. And it's just absolutely heartbreaking to think that this is our country. I had no idea there was such a large group of people who were so invested in Russia. I just had no idea. So at what point does, this is something I just thought of. At what point does Jack then start to look at Trump and his involvement in Russia beyond the Mueller report? But now, it's almost like, he always talks about the shadow government, Biden's shadow government. He is the shadow government. Biden's our president, but Trump's going behind Biden's back to connect with people, and he's mucking up deals with people around the world. How is that okay? How is that legal? Like, if a private citizen went behind the president's back and was forming deals with arms sales or forming deals with strategic military communications or world leaders, would somebody not have something to say about that? Seems to me it's a huge threat. Okay, so let's see. Is Trump going to get called out on his Russian interference by way of Musk, Putin, Orban, all of this? Is there going to be a tie-in finally? Is there? Well, remember I told you in the past, he's always had dealings with people. Muammar Gaddafi. Who knows who else? Well, we know he's been to Russia with his first wife, Ivana. We know that he's had ties in with Melania to other countries. And of course, as president, he's connected with people that he hadn't met yet, but now he has connections with them and dealings with them. We're feeling hemmed in about the information that's out there. We know it's worldwide. We know that he is looking out into the world. Maybe Trump's starting to feel hemmed in, and he doesn't have as much support as he thinks he has. So now I have the Three of Swords, followed by that Truth card, and followed by my Democracy card. So Trump's going to find that maybe some people from the past that he thought were his buddies are not going to support him. Maybe they're going to take advantage of him. They see him as a weak target now. He can't exactly go to the U.S. government and say, help me. MBS is threatening to take my properties, or do something to me if I don't pay him, we don't know what these deals are, right? Of course, entertainment purposes only. I gotta buy a mug, says that, so I can just hold it up. So there are things happening there that we don't know about. This is gonna be crazy in 10, 20, 50, 30 years. We start reading books about what people knew. It's aggravating that people don't come forward right at the time, and you have to wait for their book to come out to get the information that we've needed all along. That I don't like. That really bothers me. It says something about the people we're dealing with, So, I'm going to show you what I bought. So, there's a place in New Hampshire called the Red Arrow Diner. And it's a tradition that when people who are running for office come through New Hampshire, they go there. And on the back side, you see what it says? It's the C-SPAN campaign 2024 with the White House on it, and it says best consumed unfiltered. It's play on words. They have little coffee beans, so it's like unfiltered coffee, unfiltered information about the campaign. I love it. Got that. Of course, I always sit in the spot where Barack Obama sat. There's a little plaque. When people come in, there's a plaque. So I always sit in the Barack Obama spot. I like it. All right, so I think that's all I have for right now. I know that there's a lot happening. As I didn't want to watch the news today because I know that there's a lot going on with Bragg. There's a lot going on with Eugene Carroll's cases and Trump's money situation. And I do know that I believe Trump connected with Musk in order to get money for his payments for Eugene Carroll and for the New York fraud case. Of course, we know that Musk is not going to give him the money. Musk is going to be the go-between, whether it be with Putin or Putin doesn't have the money. Saudi Arabia, maybe Saudi Arabia will assist. Maybe he is asking Musk. Maybe he has gotten to the point where he knows that these people aren't going to give him any more money because there's no way they're going to ever get it back. Because even if they get these properties, they know these properties aren't worth what he says they're worth. And they're not going to come right out and buy them because he has a monitor. So how is the monitor going to okay a quick purchase to some sketchy country or third? I don't know. To me, I just feel like he's maybe hitting a wall. as far as how to play that shell game with those cups, you know. He's in a spot. Of course, I'm sure he's going to find some way to do it, but I'm hoping we're going to find out how he does it and find out he's beholden to someone, and then that might be the thing that turns his people off. So I doubt it, because nothing turns them off. Everybody asks, oh, what does he have to do? How bad does he have to get? It's like he doesn't. Him being bad is exactly what they want. So the more bad he is, the better they like him. They like him. So let me pull a card. I love this oracle deck. It's the Oracle of Mystical Moments. Oh, I love it. Some of these cards are so symbolic. So let's see if we're going to get some. Let me see about Bragg. Let me see about the Bragg case. Okay. I got, pardon my nose, Tiny Triumphs. So you have this mouse, this squirmy little mouse. He's dressed in this little jester outfit. So maybe that's Trump. So he has maybe a tiny triumph coming, right? Something might be going his way. See that house in the back that kind of reminds me of Seven Springs? So maybe he has something coming his way. But it's not the big triumph. He's not winning anything. You know, he's obviously not going to be able to go into this court case and have his requests met by not talking about election interference, not having Stormy Daniels testify, not having Michael Cohen testify, not having anyone testify. What case do you have? How do you do that? You go into court and go, yeah, we're here to hear about something from someone who may or may not have done something about something with someone else with a thing and or money, maybe. That's just silly. Okay, so Bragg, how is this going to go? I love this card. This actually comes up a lot for me. Keys on trees. So you have this elephant up here, which could be the GOP. It could be Trump. He takes all this time and effort to go up all these stairs, and he thinks he's getting up higher, higher, and higher, and higher, right? He's doing great. Finds out he's in a cage. He's in this little dinky bird cage. He has nowhere to go. That could be him being imprisoned. And the keys are on the trees. He can see him, but he can't reach them. He can't reach them. He's going to try. He can't reach those keys. I love this. So I think I'm going to leave this here. Everybody remember, it might be quite the hike. And he might look like he's getting somewhere. Those little tiny triumphs, right? But he ends up in it. He ends up ensnared and stuck and right out in the open for all of us to see. So I'm going to leave that there. I want to thank every single one of you for all your wonderful comments again. You guys are great. I love you all. I want you all just like hang on, because it's going to be fun to watch it fall. And it's going to fall. It can't be this way forever. Things don't stay the same forever. The pendulum always swings, and the scale always comes back to balance. So I'm going to leave you there. Thank you all. Have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you all soon. Bye.